Hello everybody, I've got another project to work on tonight. My son has this nightlight in his room, and what it is, it's a Light Saber from Star Wars. You've probably seen them, and it looks like a lightsaber, hangs on the wall, and then the part where the blade would be is lighted. And this is the mount that it actually mounts to. There's a couple of screws that hold it on there. And when we moved, we lost the back half of this. There was a back piece that you screw to the wall, and then this snaps onto it, and it holds the lightsaber. And the lightsaber runs off battery, so you don't have cords hanging down the wall or anything. What I'm going to do tonight is on the back of this, you can kind of see it's got those little compartments. I'm going to take some 1/4 inch birch plywood, Baltic birch plywood, and I'm going to cut it to fit those areas. And I'll glue it in there probably with like just some hot glue, and what that'll do is give me a backing where I can then drill a hole through the top and the bottom of this, and I'll mount this directly to the wall, and then I'll paint the heads of the screws white so you don't really see it, and that way he can get his nightlight back on the wall. I'll show you what the nightlight looks like once it's mounted, but for now I'm just going to go ahead and work on getting the pieces glued in here so that I got a nice solid backer. I mean, otherwise I put a screw in there, you know, and you tighten it down, it's going to bow that, and it's just not gonna look right, and it's not going to work well. So let me get some measurements here, and we'll start cutting some pieces out on the scroll saw. I just used my calipers, and I found the inside dimension of this slot, and I just made a mark on this board, drew a couple of lines. You can see I've got a nice rectangle drawn there. It's far larger than I'll need, but I figure what I'll do is for stability, I'll slide a piece all the way up in here. I'll cut a smaller piece for the top, and since this is only 1/8 inch Baltic birch, I probably will have some left over, and I'll put a second piece here and a second piece down at the bottom where the screws go to give it the most support that I can. So I'm going to run over to the scroll saw. I won't film this part, but I'm going to go ahead and cut this rectangle out, and then we'll get it sized to fit inside of this bracket. I got my strip of wood cut out, and it fits just fine, so I'm happy about that. What I'm going to do first is get this part up here measured out. So we'll just grab our calipers and take us an inside measurement here. We'll lock that down and grab my pencil. That's so thin that my machinist square won't even lay flush against it. Alright, I've got that piece there. I'll go ahead, cut it out, and then we'll get it glued in there. We'll get the next piece cut to length, get it glued in there, and then we'll come back and see what we have left for putting a second layer on the front and back half. I may have to cut another piece, but I've got a large piece of this material, so that won't be a problem. I've got the piece cut for the front of my bracket, and it fits perfectly right in there. What I'm going to do now is we'll get this next slice cut, or marked and cut, and what I want to do is I'm going to cut it just shy of this. So we'll just make a little mark there. Just going to eyeball that. It doesn't have to be super accurate. I'll get this cut off, and then we'll get these two pieces glued in here, and then we'll start working on. This is probably not going to be enough. That's probably enough to do this part, but I'm going to need another block about this size for the front, so I'll get that marked up and cut out as well. I'm ready to start gluing. I've got my hot glue gun here, and I'm right at that in-between stage where I can't really push the glue through without using another stick. Never fails. So we're just going to get some glue in here. Get some up at this top section here. Whoops. Alright. Pop this piece in. Squeeze it down and hold it for a minute. Let me lay my glue gun out of the way so it doesn't drool all over the place. Should dry pretty quick, and we'll come back and glue the front part in. Now let's put a little glue in the front section, and we'll get the front piece glued on. Last but not least, we're going to glue the second piece up front. Nice thing about working with hot glue is it dries so darn quickly. And the last thing I want to do is glue this piece right down here at the bottom so that I've got a nice solid section to put a screw through on the bottom half of this bracket. For this one, I'll just go ahead and put the hot glue on this piece. That way I know it's in the right position. We'll put it right down here. We'll squeeze it in place, let it dry, and then we'll clean up the excess glue. My glue is dry, and I've cleaned up all of the excess, and I don't know how well you can see it, but this is a perfect fit with this little indentation on the back of this bracket, so I'm real happy about that. I found this pack of screws in my garage from a past project, and they're plenty long enough to mount this to the wall, plus I've got the anchors, which that'll be great. So I'm going to get 2 screws out of here. We'll measure the diameter of one of these screws and get the proper size drill bit. Then we'll head over to the drill press and put a couple of holes in our bracket. I've got my calipers, and there's a little line right here where the plastic, that's the line in the plastic on the bottom, right there. So I'm going to take a measurement from there to the end of the bracket, and then I'm going to split it in half. So let me take this down and split it in half. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is from both ends, I'm going to measure up from the bottom and put a mark. Now I'm going to come back and measure across, and I'll center the hole here, and I'll center the hole here, and we'll take it over to the drill press and drill it out. I've got my center marks on both sides, and I'm just going to take this punch, and that'll give me a nice starting hole for the drill press. Alright, let's head over to the drill press and get these drilled out. The bit size that I ended up needing was 11/64. Now we're ready to take it in and mount it to the wall. Well, that ought to make my son happy when he comes down later tonight and sees that hanging on his wall. He's been wanting to get it back up for quite a while now. We had it up with some of that, oh shoot, I can't think of what it's called. It's that double-sided tape that you can pull the strap at the bottom and release it from the wall. But it just, because it was so tall, it had a lot of leverage and it just kept pulling off the wall. So I think this is going to work a lot better. It had a nice tight fit. The only thing I didn't get to do is I really wanted to take, I had some model car paint, those little tiny jars, and I was going to take a brush and paint the heads of those screws, but I can't find what the heck I did with my paint. I've looked all over my shop and I haven't got the slightest where it's at. Funny thing is, it's not really going to matter because you don't even notice the screws because the Light Saber is kind of that grayish color, so they kind of blend in. They look pretty good. If I find it, I'll go in and touch it up. If he wants me to, I'll give him a choice. I don't think it's going to matter that much to him. I think he's just going to be excited that he has it. Hey, listen, thanks for hanging out with me tonight. I really appreciate it. Come back and see me again real soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.